Welcome back, everyone. Phoenix 3 here, and I want to talk about my experience at the Pokemon State Championships. I went yesterday. My friend, he got me up pretty much like I got up at 5 in the morning so we can get ready to leave at 7. But basically, I haven't played in a Pokemon tournament in 2 years for the trading card game. So yesterday was the first time I actually played in the tournaments, and everything was completely different. Like I've never played in a Pokemon tournament where the format was best of three. I did know the format existed. I just didn't get the chance to experience it till yesterday. And boy, let me tell you, like the saying, let me tell you, best of three is probably a really good format because if you haven't known, you can use information you get from the first game to dictate what you're going to do in the next two or in the next game or the third game. The experience for me from best of three mostly came from fighting games because you play best of three, you learn your opponent's play style and you adapt to it and you go from there. So we get there, registration, $15 entry fee, and just a bunch of other stuff. But the biggest thing that I enjoyed was the fact I got to meet people that I haven't seen for 2 years. All of my friends who were seniors, they're like now in the masters age group. Well, not all of them, but most of them who were seniors, they're now masters. And man, like so much has changed. Like I'm really going to get like back involved with League again, just because I miss the community of players that we have there. It's like, yeah, a bunch of people, don't like me, and I think that's mostly because of stuff that happens on PokeGym. So most of like the good players don't even talk to me for the most part. They just think I'm a scrub, but you know what? It's whatever because this scrub still wins sometimes. But basically, I'm gonna try my best to remember the games. Even though I did lose, I'm not gonna keep that a secret. But I had a really good time. I got to meet new people, and I got to see my friends again. And I think that's the biggest part of Pokemon is like just coming together as a community and playing. And when the dust settles and the champion is crowned, overall you have a good experience with it, and you just feel good. Like normally I would get mad whenever I lose, but like this was different. You know, it's mostly because I got to see all of my friends again that I didn't even know were still playing Pokemon. Because when I stopped 2 years ago, a lot of my friends also stopped playing the trading card game, and just like as a coincidence, all of them were there, and most of them like didn't even play in the tournament. They were just there. So I mean that was cool. But I'm gonna go into the rounds now. Well, let me tell you the deck I was playing. The deck I was playing was Mewtwo, Mega Gengar, and Raichu. I only had two Mega Gengars in the deck, but I had four Gengars, four Mewtwo, two Raichu, and one Sigilyph, which I actually regret putting in the one Sigilyph. It should have been two, I feel. But a large amount of the cards that I needed for the deck, I kind of got when I was there. So when I showed up, I had like a really bad list. I had like a lot of one-ofs of a lot of things. I didn't have any muscle bands. I didn't have any. I didn't have a lot of stuff, but I got those cards when I was there. I had friends and they let me borrow cards, so I was able to at least finish the deck. But now that I think about it, there are some cards I wish I had in the deck. I wish I had four Robo Substitutes. Those would have helped a lot because a lot of times I did Dark Corridor or I had to switch into something that I didn't want to take a hit. And all of these Pokemon that were hitting were extremely powerful. I'm talking, two energy attacks for 110, with Mega Manectric. And just Crobat and Landorus. Landorus could do 90 for a single energy. So it was just really, it was really bad in my opinion. It also proved that Mewtwo just isn't strong anymore. Like I was telling everybody there who I was like playing, I was like, I'm going to do one or two things. I'm going to prove Mewtwo is either really good or Mewtwo is really bad. And I think Mewtwo is really bad because the format shifted to where you want to use low energy to deal the most possible damage. So Mega Manectric deals 110 for two and gets you back two energies. You know, when this is coupled with max potions and stuff like that, you know, that 2 energy cost seems almost like nothing just because you can get the energy back and heal off all the damage. With Landorus can do 90 for a single energy and put 30 on a bench, and then once it starts getting damaged, it could super scoop up or even max potion the damage and get another energy. So that's basically what I was up against the whole day. You know, really cheap attackers, so I couldn't really utilize Mewtwo. But of course, I did have the stadium that makes um, the attacks of Psychic Pokemon the colorless less, so it did kind of help. But you know, stuff. All right, so basically the first round, I play against a Mega Gardevoir deck. This here was actually a deck I didn't want to see, just because Mega Gardevoir can kill anything in the game in one hit once the energy is out there. So my opponent got set up. I also had a setup as well. I had my stadium out. He didn't really ever get his fairy garden, but I had my stadium out for a couple turns. But my opponent was already fully set up. I also had a lot of Lysanders in my hand and ways to get them back. So basically, what I ended up doing the entire time was Lysandering up the Aromatisse, because my reasoning was it's not going to do me any good attacking in a Gardevoir right now, just because Gardevoir can heal the damage and attack me back and knock me out. So my targets were to just get rid of the Aromatisse, because that was going to do two things. It was going to take away his option to move energy around, which effectively takes away his option to use Max Potion. So that's what I did. He played Aromatisse. I Lysandered them out. I used Mega Gengar's attack to copy an attack, and I copied Gardevoir EX's attack, which does 100 straight damage. He also had Xerneas on the board, so that was an option. But, you know, I didn't want to discard an energy. So I did 100, and I got the benefit of that of losing my weakness for the turn, which wasn't a problem because Gengar is not weak to anything in a fairy deck. So after a couple of turns of Lysandering and knocking out the, the Aromatisse, and I eventually knocked the Xerneas out at some point, it was pretty much just an easy game from there because my opponent only had a couple of options available to him. That was either knockout, or that was either play the Lysander or play some supporters to try to get yourself back into the game. That was pretty much his only option. Like, he did get Lysander knockouts on like my Gengars, but they were reasonably set up for the most part. So I was able to take away his support, and if I needed to, I could have stalled with Sigilyph the entire time because none of his Pokemon would be able to touch Sigilyph, which I would have been able to hit for at least, was it 50, like 80 damage a turn, maybe 100 with the Muscle Band, but it definitely would have been a 3-hit knockout just to take out a Mega Gardevoir. So I ended up winning the first game in the best of 3. The second game was more the same, except I really got going. I knew Mega Gengar was actually going to be the way to win, so I quickly got out of Mega Gengar and I started copying, you know, Gardevoir's attack, and I still targeted down the Aromatisse. But this game here was a little bit slower because I didn't draw into my Lysander, so I was left hitting the Gardevoirs. Eventually, an Aromatisse came out and he moved the energy away and Max Potioned it away, but once I got my Lysanders, I started going after the Aromatisse. Xerneas didn't really do anything. It had a single energy on it the whole time. He wasn't really investing in it. And my Sigilyph was prized that game, so I was really hoping that I could at least get rid of his support to the point to where he couldn't do anything back to me. And that's pretty much it. His Mega Gardevoirs, I think he had them, but he didn't have the Spirit Link, so he couldn't Mega Evolve them without ending his turn. And then it was just basically a bunch of solo Gardevoirs. The Mega Gardevoir eventually came down, but it wasn't able to knock out my Mega Gengar in one hit, which is kind of what I kind of had planned. I had 2 Mega Gengars on the bench. I had like 2 Mewtwo's going and another Gengar. So I mean, I was going strong for the most part, and I eventually win that game. So I win the first game 2-0. Second round, I come across, someone that I think I've played, just a couple of times. We are not really on like the friend level, but I do see him around. So he's playing a very interesting deck, one that I respect. He was using Archie's, is it Archie's Hidden Ball Trick? I think that's what it is. No, the oh crap, what's the name of that card? No, he's using Archie's Ace in the Hole. That's basically a stadium card that says you can search your discard pile for a water Pokemon. Any water Pokemon. It could be involved. It could be a basic. It could be anything. It could even be a Mega. But it says search your discard pile for a water Pokemon and put it on your bench, and then draw 5 cards. The only trick is that you have to have no cards in your hand when you play it. So he did that quite effectively. But basically, his target was Empoleon, and he used Napoleon for the diving draw just to basically get him back into the game. It makes N a little bit useless against him, but I mean N was still an option, but it wasn't my first go-to option because of that. And he also had Mega Manectric as the attacker. So basically, I missed the first couple of turns of getting supporters. I eventually draw one, but by the time I get one, I'm already down 5 prizes. So there is no realistic way I was going to make a comeback there. So I end up losing that first game. The second game, I do get a little something going, but I kind of draw dead for a little bit. So I wasn't really seeing much of anything again. And then I draw something and I start trying to bring it back, but I had a bunch of Pokemon on the bench that was already damaged. All he needed to do was get a Lysander and he would have won. So it goes into his turn, he draws, he doesn't get anything. He then does a diving draw, gets the computer search off the diving draw, searches his deck for a Versus Seeker and gets the Lysander, and he takes the game. So that was a very fun game. I didn't think anybody was going to be able to get that supporter to work efficiently, and he told me that like over the course of the tournaments that he played the deck in, he's gotten it fairly consistent, and he said he's gotten it like 3 or 4 times in a row just on that day. So I'm like, man, if you can get that to work, man, then like more power to you. Like I really do think Mega Manectric is the answer to the meta, just because it's a very cheap attacker. It can two-hit most Pokemon in the game. Some EXs don't have 230 HP. Very few do, but not all of them. Most of them have like 210 to 220. So Mega Manectric is very strong, especially when you have max potions. You can heal your damage. Switch out to another Mega Manectric, attack with that one, get the energy back that you just discarded with the max potion. So it was really good. I did try to do shenanigans with Mega Gengar, but Mega Gengar just wasn't having it. And then it was funny because like one game he like dropped his Mewtwo and he knocked out my Mewtwo, so I just dropped like 3 more Mewtwo's. And for the rest of the game series, we didn't see any Mewtwo's come down from him. Yeah, because he knew I was going to win that Mewtwo war if that's the route he was going to go. Because basically, anybody who played Mewtwo against me in that tournament, I just dropped all my Mewtwo's. And I'm like, you know what? I'm ready to go. If you want to do this Mewtwo exchange, then I'm fine with that. I'm ready to do whatever you're ready to do. Your one Mewtwo is not going to beat my 4 Mewtwo's. Just saying. So, so yeah, that was that. I ended up losing that game. So at this point, I believe I'm 1-0-1. 1 win, no ties, 1 loss. Third game comes around, and I play against my opponent. He's playing Yveltal. The deck I just don't want to see, like at all. So, um, we flip to see who goes first, and I believe I choose to go first. This year was when I went. This year was when I decided my deck needs to go second every single game. But I decided to go first. I lead with Gengar, and I have a Mewtwo on the bench. Me knowing that Eotol is always a possibility to play, I should have started Mewtwo and kept Gengar on the bench, or just not even played a Gengar at all. But I didn't know what my opponent was playing. I thought it was a safer play to start with the Gengar than Mewtwo because Gengar at least has a 1 energy attack. But nope, he has the Evoltal. Not the EX one, but the basic one, the one with 130 HP. Needless to say, I don't draw supporters the first game, and he kind of takes a quick win right off of that one. Second game, I'm like, all right, I know what I have to do now, and that's not play any Gengars at all. So that's exactly what I did. Second game came around, I made it priority to get out Pikachu's so I can evolve them to Raichus, and I pretty much benched every single Mewtwo I had. So I had 4 Mewtwo's and 2 Pikachu's down on the bench. So basically, I decided to go second on the first game because that was when I realized I needed to. So he could attach the first energy on his Pokemon, and then I can, do what I need to do, get some X balls going. But Hypnotoxic Laser was kind of bad for me. Whenever he did put me to sleep, I did wake up the turn like after immediately, so that was very helpful and helping me stay in the game. But I eventually overwhelmed him with Mewtwo's, and then whenever he decided to take a knockout with Yveltal, I just knocked his out with the Raichu on the bench with Circle Circuit for 200 damage, since Yveltal is weak to lightning in the trading card game, and I take that win there. Third game comes around, I decide to go second again because my opponent decides he wants to go first. So he starts with the lone Yveltal. I start with Mewtwo and Pikachu on the bench. Now, my hand is stupid. Like, dang. My hand is stupid. I'm like stupid good. My opponent attaches an energy to his Yveltal and ends his turn. I was like, oh, don't tell me it's going to end like this. So I decided to play it safe. I Ultra Balled for another Pikachu because I had both my Pikachus and Raichus in the deck. So I was like, it's going to come down to just this. And I attach an energy to my Mewtwo. I play my Stadium. I still have the Gengar in my hand, but I didn't play it because I wanted to play it safe. But I played my first Juniper, and I kind of drew into the Gengar. I was about to put it down just so I can get more damage on the Circle Circuit, but I decided, I'm not going to play it. I'm going to play it down. I just want to see what happens. So I X-Ball his Yveltal for, what was it, 40? Because I don't think I had the Muscle Band on Mewtwo. I had the Stadium down, so my X-Ball cost 1 less, and I was able to X-Ball him for 40, putting him down to 130 HP left. So I end my turn. And he draws, and he plays a supporter. The supporter he plays is Chorus, the one that says, shuffle your hand to your deck and draw Pokemon equal to the number of bench Pokemon both players have in play. Since I was the only one with bench Pokemon in play, and I had 2 bench Pokemon, he only drew 2 cards. Right there was when I knew I had the game, because there was nothing he was going to be able to do from that. Right there. So I was like, okay, all I got to do is not like mess up the next turn, and I pretty much win. So I think he attaches another energy, and he Evil Balls my Mewtwo. So I believe I draw an Ultra Ball. I drew a Pokemon. So I played the Gengar down that I had in my hand, and I played the other Pokemon that I drew. I Junipered and got 2 Ultra Balls off the Juniper. So I played the Ultra Ball, and I believe I got more Pokemon. I eventually got the Raichu into play. I attached I believe I attached a Muscle Band to it. It might have been a double color synergy, but basically a lot of stuff happened, and I was able to retreat the Mewtwo because the Mewtwo had the Mystery Energy attached to it, which took away its retreat cost. And I brought the Raichu up and Circle Circuit for 200 damage. So I ended up knocking out his Yveltal. So I win game 3 as well. Basically, a bunch of shenanigans happened. My opponent didn't draw well, but not drawing well was the story of my life for the tournament. So, I'm fine with whatever happened. I ended up winning that, and that's all that matters. Because, I would much rather win a game where, both players are able to fight back. And, it's whatever. But I won. So, waiting in between rounds, talking to my opponents, and round 4 comes up. What did I play in round 4? It was something odd. Because I won the game in round 4. I don't remember what the deck was. I mean, because at this point, when I won round 4, I was 2 wins. 2 wins, 0 ties, and 2 losses. I'm trying to remember what this deck here was. I should have wrote it down 'cause I actually don't remember what it was. I don't think the deck was all that interesting though, just to be honest. Wow, I cannot remember what this deck was. It had to have left some kind of impression on me though. It had to. I mean, obviously it didn't because I don't remember, but let me see. Round one was against Mega Gardevoir. Round two was against Mega Manectric. Round three was against Yveltal. Round four was what? I don't remember. Oh my God, I'm sorry to the player that I played in that tournament. I do not remember what he was playing. I did beat it though. Oh well, I guess I'm just gonna go to round five then. I can't believe I don't remember that deck. Well, anyway, round five was, and I'm saying again, I'm sorry, I do not remember your deck. I just don't remember his deck. But round five was against a round five was against a another Gengar deck, and he didn't use Mega Gengar, but his thing was Gengar was going to switch out into Trevenant, the one that trainer locks you. So that was basically his whole thing. Round game one, I start with Mewtwo, and I keep Gengar on the bench. I bench a couple more Mewtwo's, and he takes advantage of that the entire time. He Lysanders them up and knocks them out because it would die to poison in between turns. So the next game in the series, I was like, I'm not going to play any Mewtwo's. So I went aggro Gengar, Mega Gengar, Raichu, and Sigilyph. Sigilyph being the big player in the match just because he couldn't hit it. So I swiftly take that game as a matter of fact. Like, I don't think he could have done anything about it. I got my Mega Gengars out, and I benefited from that game the entire time because I was able to copy his his attack to switch out and poison, and I was able to use Trevenant's uh, attack to do 60 and place 20 somewhere on the board as well. So I was able to use his attacks to my advantage. So basically, when I Mega Evolve into Mega Gengar, I pretty much gained 50 HP while retaining, the attacks that I was going to use on Gengar anyway. And that extra 50 HP mattered a whole lot. So I ended up winning that game. Game three was really close. The one thing I did notice was that since I only had one Sigilyph in the deck, that his Raichu would have been able to knock it out. So I had to kind of play around the Raichu. When I eventually got a Lysander, I brought the Raichu up and I hit it once, and I retreated back to the bench, and he retreated his Raichu. So I evolved to make a Gengar, and over the next couple of turns, I was able to copy Trevenant's attack and just snipe the Raichu off the bench, which made Sigilyph a whole lot safer. So now my plays were much better because I was able to hit, run, poison something, and switch into Sigilyph, and he couldn't do anything. I just basically forced him to use Gengar's attack to put 3 damage counters on a Pokemon because he can't hurt the Sigilyph. So that was a very big deal there. I was able to block his attacks, which is kind of what I wanted to do the entire time. So time is eventually called, and we go down to our +3. We both end the game with a really awkward prize trade-off, and yeah, I kind of lose. So, well, I don't lose. The game ends in a draw, and ties are a thing. So at this point, I'm 2 wins, 1 tie, 2 losses, and I go into the next game. This here was the last game I decided to play, and my opponent is playing, what was it, Landorus and Bats. He also had the Hawlucha, but I was able to play around that. But basically, me and my opponent was joking the entire time. At this point in the game, I had no desire to continue playing anymore because I woke up at 5 in the morning. I was really tired, and it was already, getting. It wasn't late, but I was tired, and I just didn't care to play anymore. So I just basically joked around with my opponent. I knew I wasn't going to beat his deck just because my deck has nothing it can do against um, Crobats. It has nothing it can do against Landorus. If it weren't for the inclusion of the super scoop ups, then the matchup would have been a whole lot more interesting for me, at least. But there was always that possibility that he was going to be able to super scoop up all the damage and hit me again. So at this point, I was just like, just playing the game to play. He said he really doesn't want the game to end in a tie. He wants to be able to win it, just because having a tie on your record is bad, but having two ties on your record is pretty much you're not going to make the top cut. So I told him, it's like, had the game ended in a tie, I would have just given him the win anyway, because I knew that was going to be my last game of the day. I wasn't going to play anymore. So I wasn't going to take a tie and ruin his record. I was going to at least be like, you know what, I'm giving you the win regardless what happens. Like I told him, as I told him before the game started, I have no intention on playing anymore. If I do take the win, I'm just going to give you the win because I'm tired. I don't want to play anymore. So that's basically what we did. We played and we had fun the entire time playing it, and that's kind of what I really think Pokemon is about. Is just building these relationships with people and having fun. And that's exactly what I did that game. So he ends up taking the win, and this is around the time I drop out because they were going to start the Pokemon video game tournament, but that was when I realized that, hey, my team's not finished. I just looked at my Pokemon and I was like, oh crap, I don't have my doubles team. Like I have a doubles team, but it's not legal. It's my doubles team from 5th generation, and you can't use those Pokemon. So I mean, I don't have a good Zapdos. I don't have a good Cresselia. I didn't even catch Cresselia in this new Pokemon game. I just didn't care because I mean the rules they kind of suck for me in the other one. I don't want to have to rebreed Pokemon, but I'm going to have to rebreed Pokemon. So I'm talking with some of my friends to be able to do that. I'm talking to one of my friends see if he can get me a shiny Pidgey so I can breed that into a doubles Mega Pidgeot. Because at this point, if I'm going to do anything in the Pokemon video game for tournament play, it's only going to be for doubles. I have Pokemon I can use against everybody else on any other situation, so I mean I'm fine with that. But yeah, that's basically my tournament report. I did have a very good time. And I guess now that I think about it, I do remember what that second deck was I played in the 4th round. I believe it was Yveltal. I do think it was Yveltal because I played 2 Yveltal decks that day. So I mean, did I beat both of them? Because I know I won the 1st round, lost the 2nd round. I won the 3rd round, and I lost the 4th round. The 5th round was a tie, and the 6th was the game against Landorus. So yeah, I think I beat both the Yveltal decks. Wow. Wow. I beat 2 Yveltal decks. That's an accomplishment. People ask me, how do you beat Yveltal with Gengar? And I think I just told them I just went aggro Mewtwo. Like Mewtwo was still really good against Yveltal. Yeah, it was against two Yveltal decks. Because that Yveltal deck beat me in the 1st round. In the 2nd round I came back on it. Like, and then the 3rd game I came back on it again. So yeah, 2 Yveltal decks. Well, that's the story of my life right there. But I guess if you guys like my tournament report, that I guess subscribe to my channel because I'm just gonna always be doing random Pokemon stuff. So I mean, just stick around for that, I guess. And I guess just leave me your comments below. I kind of want to hear what you guys kind of felt with your own tournaments reports if you played, or if you just want to say, hey man, good job for playing, or just whatever. I really don't care what kind of comments you leave, but do like the video though. And as always, I want to thank you guys for watching my videos, and I hope to see you all in the next one.